Hello, my students. My name is Bruno Mrigo. Today we are going to discuss economics, and the topic we are going to discuss is the theory of firm, and the subtopic we are going to cover is cost of production. So let us discuss what is cost of production. Now, costs of production are expenses that a firm or business incur during the production process when using inputs or factors of production, or can say factors of production. So a firm or a business man or woman or a business person, when he is or she is producing a commodity, he will incur some costs. So those costs we say are expenses which we used to buy the inputs. And the inputs we are talking here is raw materials or any materials which is used to produce a commodity. So those are inputs we need to use in the production process. We must pay a certain cost. So we call as a cost of production. Now let us see the types of cost of production. Types of cost of production. Here we'll discuss two types of costs. One is implicit cost, and the second is explicit cost. Now let us start with implicit cost. Implicit cost these are benefits or advantages a firm give up or a businessman give up in order to conduct another activity. So implicit cost are the benefits a firm give up in order to conduct other activity. Other activity. So if a firm or a businessman give up some benefits or forgone some benefits and he decided to do other activities which he think will give him or her more profit, so that benefit he give up we call as a implicit cost. And the example, let us assume a man can be either employed or decided to do own activity. Now, if a man is being employed, he will earn a wage of 700,000. Now, a businessman can give up this wage, which is 700,000, and start his or her own business, which will yield a profit more than this one. If a businessman give up this wage and start a business which will yield up 900,000, means the profit he will get when he starts a business. If a man, let us take this example. If a man is being employed, he will earn a wage of 700,000. Now, if he decide to give up this wage and start his or her business, he will earn, if he give up that wage and start a business which yield a profit of 900,000. So this 700,000 we call as a implicit cost. So a man can give up this, then start a business which will yield this profit. So this we call as a implicit cost, which a man forgone or give up. The second we said is explicit cost. Now let us discuss the explicit cost. Explicit cost, these are expenses or the actual money a businessman will pay to buy inputs during the production process. Explicit cost. So explicit costs are expenses or the actual payment that a firm or a business pays when you use factors of production or when you use inputs. So the explicit costs are expenses that a firm incur or pay when using factors of production, or inputs. So when a firm or a businessman pays bills or wages or water bills and whatever, the actual money that a firm pays we call as a explicit cost. So example of explicit cost are wages that workers are being paid, then electric bills, then water bills, water bills, etc. So these are examples of explicit costs. So we can see the difference between explicit cost and the implicit cost. It means the explicit cost, these are actual payments or actual money that a firm or a businessman pays due to the using of factors of production, while implicit costs are the costs or are the benefits that a firm give up or ignore in order to conduct another activities. So now let us look how these two costs will be used to compute the profit. In economics, we'll have two types of profit. We have economic profit and accounting profit. Now, how the two costs will be used to compute the profit. Let us see the economic profit and accounting profit. Now, when you are asked to calculate the economic profit, it means during calculating the economic profit, you need to consider also the implicit cost. So, economic profit will be equal to the total revenue then less total costs. Now, under economic profit, the total cost will include implicit cost and explicit cost. So here will be equal to total revenue minus the implicit cost plus explicit cost. So when you get the value here, total revenue minus implicit cost plus explicit cost, the profit you get we call as a economic profit. Now, if you are looking for accounting profit does not consider the implicit cost. So, when you are asked to calculate the accounting profit, will be as follows. So, accounting profit this will be equal to the total revenue minus explicit costs. So when you are asked to calculate the accounting profit, you take the total revenue minus explicit cost. Assume now, example, assume a current wage a man will be paid when is employed is 700,000, and he decided to start a business which yield he decided to start a business which yield a profit, which yield a total revenue of 1,500,000. Now, if in his or her business, let's say, if he bought a raw materials which costs 600,000. Now let us calculate the accounting profit and economic profit. Now calculate the accounting profit and economic profit. So by using this example, we also have to distinguish between the implicit cost and explicit cost. So how we can conduct the solution of this example? Let us start with let us start to calculate the accounting profit. We said accounting profit equals to total revenue minus explicit cost. So from our example, the total revenue is 1,500,000, and we are given the total explicit cost, the cost which is used to buy raw materials, which is 600. So you less 600,000. So when you subtract here, the accounting profit will be equal to 900,000. So the accounting profit will be this one. Now, if we ask to calculate the economic profit, this will be equal to total revenue minus implicit cost plus explicit cost. But our total revenue here is total revenue is 1,500,000 minus implicit cost we are given is 700,000, then plus the explicit cost, which is 600,000. So be 600,000. So here will be equal to 1.5 million minus 1,003,000. So when you subtract, you get 200,000. So this one we call as a economic profit. So this one will be the same as a economic profit. Explicit cost these are the sum of total fixed cost plus total variable cost. So explicit cost is equal to total fixed cost plus total variable cost. So where TFC equals to total fixed cost and TVC the same as the total total variable cost. So when we are saying total fixed cost, means all costs that a firm incur, especially when installing the factory or when buying machines. So this we call as a fixed cost. And the total variable cost, these are costs or expenses that a firm incur or use it to buy raw materials or to pay temporary workers or paying wages to workers. So the two costs now, when you use these two costs, which is total fixed cost and total variable cost, when we sum, we said we get total cost, which is equal to total fixed cost plus total variable cost. Now, so average total cost, this will be obtained by taking the total cost divided by quantity. Okay, the average total cost will be equal to total cost divided by average total cost, which is equal to total, but total cost is the same as the total fixed cost plus a total variable cost, then divided by Q. So average total cost will be equal to this one. That means the average total cost means this is the cost per unit output. The cost per unit output. So average total cost can say is the cost per unit of output produced. So you can get this average total cost by taking the total cost divided by Q. Another variable or another concept we needed to discuss, another is average variable cost. So average variable cost, this is obtained by taking the total variable cost divided by Q. So you take the total variable cost, you divide by the quantity which is produced. So we can say average variable cost is the cost per unit of, let's say, labor. The third concept is marginal cost. Now, the marginal cost equals to change in total cost divided by change in quantity. So the marginal cost will be equal to change in total cost over change in quantity produced. So we can define that marginal cost is, you can say marginal cost marginal cost is the additional cost that resulting from producing a unit of output. So it's the extra or additional cost that resulting from producing a unit of output. So that we call as a marginal cost. So we'll be obtaining this marginal cost by taking change in total cost over change in total quantity. Now, after discussing this, now let us see how these costs are presented graphically, how to present the three concepts of costs, which is average total cost, average variable cost, and marginal cost, how we can present it graphically. So graphical presentation of cost curves. So the curves we are going to show graphically is average total cost, average variable cost, and marginal cost. Now let us see how we can draw these costs on our graph. So when you are drawing the cost curve, you need to use a graph paper where now on the vertical axis you put the costs and on the horizontal axis you put the output or quantity produced. So at the vertical axis you put the costs and the horizontal axis you put quantity produced. So when you draw this cost, we'll see that the marginal cost, let us start with this marginal cost. At the beginning, when let's say the output is close to 0, the marginal cost is very high. So the marginal cost will be from the above, then the cost will be falling, then will start to increase. So this one the same as a marginal cost. So you can see here, as you increase production or as you increase output, the cost starts to decline. Will decline up to this point, then it will start to increase. So the nature of the marginal cost will look like this one. Then you can draw the average total cost. The average total cost will be greater than marginal cost. So at the beginning, when the marginal cost is declining, also the average cost will be declining, but will be above this marginal cost. So the average total cost will be above, then will be declining. So when it reach or when it meet the marginal cost, the average total cost will start to this one. So this one will be equal to average total cost, as you can see here. So the when average total cost is declining, the average total cost is above, while the marginal cost is below. Now, when the average cost is at a minimum, the marginal cost is equal to average total cost. Now, when the marginal cost is above, the average total cost starts to increase. So you can see here, as average total cost is increasing, the marginal cost is above. Then we have a average variable cost. The average variable cost should be less than the average total cost, since the average total cost includes also the average fixed cost. So the average variable cost will be below the average total cost. So the average variable cost will be below here. Will be below the average total cost. Then it will meet the marginal cost, then also start to raise this one. So this will be average variable cost. So the three costs which we are using to analyze in the production process are this one: the marginal cost, average total cost, and average variable cost. So this gap between the marginal, the gap between total cost, average total cost, and average variable cost, this gap the same as average fixed cost. So this gap, when you take the difference between average total cost and average variable cost, you get the average fixed cost. So these are the three cost curves you need to know as a student, since this is very important in analyzing analyzing the behavior of the behavior of the business. So this will help you to make a decision of which level of output to produce, or how many inputs to buy, or how many number of labor to employ. So by using this cost will help you to make a decision what to do. Now, after discussing the cost of production, let us now discuss the production curves. Since firms is dealing in producing goods and services, so we need to know the behavior of the cost and the behavior of the output. Now let us see the curves or the production curves, how the production curves look like. So this part, let us see the production curves. And this will discuss total product, average product, and marginal product. We know that total product, this is the total output produced by a firm when a unit of inputs are employed. So total product or total output, the same as the total output that a firm produces when use a certain amount of input. Also, we have average product. So average product or AP is the output produced per unit of labor. So is the output produced per unit of labor. So the average product will be equal to total product divided by number of labor. So this is the same as a total output over number of labor. So this is how you can find the average product. So you take the total product divided by number of labor. Then this is Roman 2. Roman 3 is marginal product. So marginal product or MP is the additional unit of output resulted due to additional unit of labor. So the marginal product OMP is the additional unit of output resulting from or due to the addition of unit of labor, due to addition of one unit of labor. Now let us show graphically three concepts: total product, average product, and marginal product. So when you show graphical, here you draw the vertical axis and the horizontal axis. Now, in the vertical axis, you put the output which is produced. Put output. And on the horizontal axis, you put the labor, number of labor which is employed in the firm or by the firm. Then, we know that if you want to produce output, you need to employ a certain number of labor. So, as you employ more unit of labor, also the output produced will increase. Production curve will be like this one. So this one will be the total product. It means as I employ more units of inputs or labor, the total output will increase. So we assume now we are operating under a short run. Here it means due to some factors are fixed, especially capital, machines, or buildings are fixed. It means when you employ more unit of labor, the additional output will reach at maximum, then will start to decline or will start to diminish. So this is the maximum point of output. Then after that, if you employ more unit of labor, then the output will start to decline. So this we call as a maximum point. When labor, let's say, is L1. Average product. Now, the average product curve, this one, at the beginning, as I employ unit of labor, also the average product or the output per worker will increasing, and will reach a level where the average product will be at a maximum. Then will reach a point when the average product starts to decline. So the average product will start to increase, then it will reach a maximum, then will start to decline. This one. So this one will be the average product. Also, we have the marginal product, the marginal product curve. So the marginal product curve, this will be above the average product, will start increasing sharply, then reach a maximum, then will start to decline. So decline up to the negative MP. So when the average product and the marginal product intersect, it means the average product will be at a maximum. So when the two curves intersect, average product and the marginal product, the average product is at a maximum. So this point shows the maximum marginal product, and when these two curves intersect here is L, let's say L0, this is L2. So when the two curves, marginal product and average product, intersect, it means here the average product is at a maximum. So the production curves will be like this one. Now let us see the relationship between production curves and cost curves. Relationship between cost curves and production curves. So the cost curves and the production curves are inversely relationship or have negative relationship. So graphical, let us start with relationship between, start with average total cost versus total product. Okay? So let us start with the total product. Said here is output and here is labor. So the total product will start to increase, then will reach maximum, then will start to diminish. This is the total product. And the cost curve, the average cost, here is cost, and here is Q. So when the total output increases, the cost is declining. So the average cost will be declining. Then we reach minimum, then we start to increase. So this will be the average total cost. So when total cost, when output increases, total cost decline. When output reach maximum, total cost, average total cost will be minimum. When this start to diminish, this will start to increase. So this is the relationship between the total product and the average total cost. That the total product increases, cost decline. When total product reach maximum, total cost or average total cost reach minimum. When total product start to decline, the average total cost start to increase. Then next is the relationship between average total product and average variable product. The second case is average product versus average variable cost. So similar, we start with the curve of average total cost here, average total output here is output, there is labor. So when output or average product increases, average variable cost will decline, then reach minimum, then we start to increase. So this is average variable cost. It means when average output increases, average variable cost decline. When this reach maximum, this reach minimum. When this decline, this increases. So the relation will be like this way. So when the average product is the maximum, average cost will be at a minimum. Then third case is the marginal product versus marginal cost. So let us see the relationship between the marginal product and the marginal cost. So let us start with the graph of marginal product. Here is the output. The marginal product means when it increases, then reach maximum, then it will decline. Then we have a cost curve, which is marginal cost curve. here is cost, and here is output produced. So when the marginal product increases, the marginal cost will start to decline, then will reach minimum, then will start to increase. So this will be the marginal cost. So when marginal product increases, marginal cost decline. When marginal product is at a maximum, the marginal cost is at a minimum. When this declining, marginal product declining, the marginal cost increasing. So can show like this one. So here is maximum and here is minimum. So this is how the relation between production curves and cost curves behave or appear. So make sure that you have a knowledge of this analysis of cost curves and production curves, since in order to make any decision as a producer or a businessman, you need to have this knowledge of a marginal product or marginal cost or average product, average cost, total product, total cost, or average total cost, and whatever. So very, very important in order to do decision. Either, for instance, let's say consider this analysis here. As we said, marginal product is the additional unit of output resulted due to increase or additional unit of labor. Now, as you are a businessman or you are owner of a business, you can decide if the marginal product or the additional output is increasing. Here, there is the advantage of employing more unit of labor, since the additional output is doing what? Is increasing. Now, when it reaches that when you add more unit of labor or more unit of inputs, the marginal product or the additional product start to decline or going to negative, you need to stop or to reduce this in order to avoid making loss. So also in this case, let's say as you increase output, we've seen the marginal cost or additional cost decline. So if the cost is declining, it means there is advantage to increase production, since the cost is doing what? Falling. So in this case, as you are a businessman or the owner of a business, it is advantageous to increase the output since the cost is declining. And at this point, when the cost is very minimum, it means at this point you are getting maybe high profit, or you are maximizing, or you are minimizing cost, or we can say you are maximizing profit. Now, if you can see in this case, as you increase output, the cost is what? Increasing. Now, this situation is not profitable, since as you add more unit of output, the cost is increasing. So in this case, as you are a businessman or a firm owner or a business owner, you can decide to cut off the production in order to reduce the cost. So the best position either when cost is at a minimum or when the cost is declining, instead of when the cost is rising. So this concept is very important, since as you are a business or a student, you expect after completing your studies, you can either decide to start a business. So if you decide to start a business, make sure that you have this concept. So thank you for today. This will be the end of our discussion. Then next we will discuss how we can find the profit if we are given costs, or how we can maximize profit and whatever. So don't miss the next session, since we will discuss a lot of issues relating to the decision of your business or activities, and maybe you'll become a very good expert to advise the companies or firms on how to take actions concerning their production activities or production process. So thank you for today. This is the end of our session. Thank you.